I'm Brian Hemmer with the Inevitable You here with Isabella Sumner. Happy new moon.
Happy new moon in Capricorn, my favorite time of the year.
Yes, a very special new moon because the lovely Isabella here has a birthday tomorrow. This is your year. This is your time of year, I should say. This is your energy, right?
Oh, it is. It is definitely my energy if you look at my birth chart.
So I've got marked 4:57 in the morning at the time of recording. This is today, the 11th of January. Within the 24 hours, 48 hours typically is the best to be setting intentions for our new moons. And again, this is something we've been doing for years. This is a way to honor the natural motions of the moon and, its effect on the earth, on us as humans, just as it affects the tides of the ocean. You got to think it has some kind of effect on ourselves as well, our energy, our consciousness. And so we like to do this every month to reorient ourselves, see what's in store for the theme of the month, which centers around the astrological signs, the position of the other planets in the solar system, and a way to just reflect on the past 28 days, past lunar cycles, see where we're at. And then this particular new moon, always a great one because it's the beginning of the year. A lot of people like to set New Year's resolutions, and we're going to talk a little bit about that here. What that really means, what we should really be focusing on as far as New Year resolutions. But this particular new moon in Capricorn, as I'm sure Issa will get into here, is powerful for just setting a great vision for yourself for the rest of the year. So, without further ado, um, anything you'd add to that, and then what's the forecast for the next 28 days?
Oh, welcome to Capricorn season, everybody. No, I think you hit it on the head. This is just a great opportunity for just another layer of what the Inevitable You offers. And we say it and mention it. It's something that Bill was passionate about and weaved into his work, whether you maybe knew it or not. And can be really cool just as you learn a little bit more about yourself. So, enter the new moon in Capricorn. Let's talk about Capricorn because that's kind of how we always started. Ruled by Saturn. Saturn is going to be your planet that is pretty disciplinary, right? Lots of responsibility, structure, long-term goals. So, if you're new to the astrology world, you obviously have heard people talk about like, well, what's your sun sign? And oh, I'm a Leo. And what does it mean to be a Leo, right? Or if you're a little more ingrained in it to heard, you'll hear, oh, you're a Pisces, you're super emotional, or oh, you're a Gemini, the twin. So what does it mean to be a Capricorn? We can be very stubborn, we're very hardworking. The Capricorns that you'll meet will be very steadfast. They fall in line kind of with similar signs like the Taurus. The Capricorn itself is represented by the goat. So steady, steadfast. Um, and it's really about commitment and focus, right? So it's an earth sign. It's going to bring a lot of grounding energy. And for this post holiday to then be grounded can be sometimes really great for people in terms of practicality and aspiration. And then for others can be very distracting because if you're used to maybe being very go with the flow, this energy is going to obviously bring it a little bit more. Again, the word I keep using and the word I have right now is around commitment. Traditionally, Capricorns are really associated like with career. And it's so much more than just like the money or the paycheck. It's about really finding like our soul's purpose on what we're here to do as a human. So this current new moon, it's basically your most perfect, beautiful way to set your blueprint up for the day, for the month, for the year. What rituals do you like? The most of the times Capricorns that you meet that are pretty ingrained with it, they usually are great with routines. They take the same thing every morning. They like to go to bed at the same time. Their workouts revolve around the same things. And this is where we're in this new year and you're talking about resolutions. And then the planetary alignment is asking you to go into a sign that's going to say, be routined and be strict, but also how do you find routine and then allow? Um, Obviously, the other important thing about today is its date and the symbology of it. So 111 in any traditional, we've made our joke, oh, it's 111, make a wish. 1111, make a wish. Guess what? 111 today, everything you speak into words, it is your wish, it is your action, it is your power. So what do you want to have happen today, tomorrow, this year? And okay, no, it's not. I wish tomorrow morning my bank account had $1 million in it. Okay, we're not a genie. I wish that were the case, right? But restructuring and rephrasing the words, my work ethic or my job or my, is going to provide me with a bonus. It is going to increase the value of my bank account. It's taking the structure and creating that manifestation for yourself. I lost my train of thought. Oh,
Makes
very
sense. I mean, you were saying, I wanted to
non-capital.
touch on that too a little bit because
Yeah, go for it.
I think we get wrapped up a lot of times on, especially with like resolutions, on like the end goal, the outcome, like the specific thing that we want to happen. It's very easy to do that, and we get almost fixated on that. And there's a couple of unintended things or consequences that happen when you do that because one, you're looking at a future state over there, and there can be a sense of lack. Like, I don't have that yet. I'm not there yet. I am not that yet. Or it's like, when I have that thing, then everything's going to be great. It's like, no, you have to start with where you are today. And I think that's where, it's what you said about making the right statement of like, by by being this way or showing up this way or thinking and feeling this way, then I am on my en route to that goal. It's still great to have that target, that vision, but not be so fixated on that and more, I think, paying attention to the phrase I've been thinking about a lot lately is falling in love with the process, not the outcome, right? Or, it's kind of cliche. It's like, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey, like however you want to think about it. But I think it's very important you have to come back to where you are now and be present now and focus on the things you can do now in order to have those things. And that's, I think, what when we're talking about intentions, that's important to keep in mind. So,
Well, and it's what we do work-wise here at the Inevitable You. It's so much more than just like, okay, let's put a band-aid on your problem and hope that it works. It's getting to the root and saying, how can you take something that you're doing today and make space for it to evolve and change?
mhm.
And so what I was going to go to when I lost my train of thought because was a little bit more about some of the other things that are happening that tie into this new moon. So the one thing is it does land on almost the exact same degree point as your January 2020 Saturn Pluto conjunction, which again, we're getting into this whole other side of astrology, but probably heard the term 2020 just now, which made some thoughts happen. So it's kind of giving ourselves almost like an end of a phase and a reborn new like shakeup. So
Mm.
um
So it's like a 3-year cycle kind of thing, or a
it's
4-year cycle,
similar.
I should say.
Everything changes, but what's important about it is there is something to be said about how Saturn and Pluto speak to one another. They're actually very similar in their planets and they talk to one another. Whereas Pluto has a lot more of that like masculine, heavy change. Like Pluto's going to be the one that when you're like, oh, I lost a job. Why did I lose it? I bet you somewhere in your chart, Pluto has moved into a very uncomfortable spot. And it's been like, here you go. Here's the change you didn't know you wanted or needed, or maybe you asked for. And I'm making it happen quick and swift instead of a nice little gentle nudge. I pushed you off the cliff.
Uh-huh.
Um, this has really been like the last few years have been preparing us for now. And we can speak to that energy. We can talk about how 2020 was really challenging. 2021 was like, okay, I can go places again. What does that mean? 2022, we traveled a little more. And then last year, if you look at what happened, busiest travel year, all this stuff happening in terms of the holiday, even craziness with our world and our planet, we're finally coming back down to being like, whoa, we're out here. Let's ground again, this Capricorn energy. Pluto is that planet of transformation, power, death, rebirth, and it is getting ready to shift into Aquarius, which is a huge shift. And it's just going to recognize and stay that way actually for a couple of decades until 2043. That is just going to keep you in this like, trying to think of the best way. It's like buying a house. And that's what I'm going to say. Pluto going into Aquarius is like buying a house. It's this change, this transformation, and it goes into a very different energy in terms of how Aquarius shows up, which the Aquarius is got more emotion. And it goes away from that fight that Pluto's been having with Saturn. It's going to feel a little bit easier. You're going to have your house, but you're going to still have to make payments on it. If that kind of lines
Yeah.
make sense. Some things to think about is journaling prompts. What the Capricorn New Moon is going to ask of you is, what has the last 4 years taught you about yourself? What do you want and what do you have to live for your life? And what do you want to live within your life? Have you changed? What does your growth look like? Has your values changed? Have your belief shift? What is your soul whispering to you? What are your deepest desires? And just really, again, declaring our intentions. This is about making the choices for what you want to see happen today, for this year, even for the next 20 years, because there is a shift happening and there is a lot of that energy.
Hmm.
And then the only other thing that really comes into this place is that the Capricorn is all about initiation. So I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to keep repeating it. The energy is going to just help you find the work that really aligns with you. We're starting the new year. If you go back and listen to some of our past new years, as we move through the cycles of what happens every month in our new moon, it changes. The thought is always the same around why we give intention on our new moon, because it's the most like sacred way for us to go inward and see our deepest desires and ask for them. It's also, though, what is it asking us to ask for? How are we showing up for ourselves? And Capricorn is asking you to put the fire under your ass, get there, commit, make a goal, go for it. And guess what? If you fail on the end of it, a Capricorn does not sit around and go, oh my God, I'm so upset. They're like, damn, that didn't work out. What do I need to redo? How do I reprocess? And what do I do the next time around? So that, again, you're constantly on this evolutionary shift. Because then in February, we go into a completely new sign that takes us away from that grounding energy. So if you've begun the year grounded, you're going to have a lot easier time stepping into what is being asked of you than feeling like you're just stagnant or held back because you didn't take the opportunity to look for the new beginnings.
Cool. Awesome. Well, you pretty much summed up everything I was kind of reading about. And some of the things that I took notes on or was occurring to me and what's kind of been on my mind a lot lately is again back to like New Year's resolutions. I think, a lot of us we come into the new year, it's like, all right, first of the year, we got to get going. We got to, it's like get to action and we're setting these concrete, like smart goals and, again, focused on the specific thing that's got to happen. And we're getting back to the gym. It's like very action oriented. Whereas maybe it's not the best time of year to actually do that because you're coming out of the holidays, right? Like hectic time of year, you're it's very stressful, right, for a lot of folks. It's the dead of winter. So, I mean, here in Colorado, it's freezing right now. It's colder in most parts of the US at least. There's more darkness, at least in the northern hemisphere, right? So you look at all that, you look at the energy of that, like that's not a very action oriented kind of energy to be in. It's more of like, hey, maybe it's time for rest and recovery and taking it easy and maybe taking the time to do some daydreaming or not so much action, but actually setting the vision, sitting down with your journal. And, we've talked in other settings or other new moons about how, in the more dark times, the subconscious reveals itself to you. And I think it was either the last new moon or one before that where there was, the shadow self was being revealed to you. And what is that showing? And what are some of those things that you want to address? And I think those are great things to take into consideration as far as like, okay, now what do I want the year to be? And again, taking a step back and looking at big picture, maybe starting general, like, yeah, I would like more financial abundance in my life. I like more connection with people in my life, whatever it is, what does that look like from a big picture? And then you can start to drill in and say, okay, well, here's the actions that I can start taking in order to have those, or here's how I can start showing up that way in my life, and not being so gung ho, first of the year, getting to it. But maybe by the time spring rolls around, where again, it's getting lighter, it's a rebirth, right?
And that's where, like, again, the Capricorns almost get like a bad rap, right? Because a real Capricorn doesn't necessarily go into the new year with that gung-ho attitude to have a goal. They've actually taken a step back, sat down, looked at the big picture to be like, what puzzle piece is missing? And how can I then action orient from there? And that's kind of where you just said it. It's chaotic over the new year. It's chaotic over the holidays, your family, you're stressed. You haven't taken care of yourself. You've maybe not been eating well. You've maybe been drinking, whatever, right? You did all the things because we're humans and that's what you should do. And then all of a sudden on the first, it's like, all right, jump right back in. And that is the exact opposite of what any Capricorn would want to do. They would literally be like, well, what do you mean you want me to jump into the pool? How deep is it? Is there somebody watching over? And it's not from a scared place. It's from they're just intellectually constantly thinking about, if this happens, then that will be the result. And that's where then Brian said, right, take a step back. It doesn't have to be, well, if I do this, I'm going to get that. It can be, I just want that.
Yeah.
How am I going to get there to get what I see and envision in the deepest part of my soul? And the biggest thing about any Capricorn routine will be how much rest and space that they give themselves in their routine. There's a lot of downtime, and the downtime is because they have to go recharge yourself. So take the new year as an opportunity to recharge your batteries. Your social batteries are down. Your physical work batteries way down. You have to go back to work after having time off. It's like, enjoy space, enjoy that grounding, really safe, heavy energy that's going to pull you closer to like your human inner self, then try to feel like you're floundering and then just jumped into the deep end and don't know how to swim anywhere.
Right.
And then let's repeat one last time. Today, 111. Whatever you say, it will come true. Really believe that in all its certainty. Trust that you're being guided. Follow through with whatever signs you see. If you see them, there might not be any signs because you may not be there in your intuitional process yet. Your intuition is like a muscle. The more you work it, the stronger it gets. The less you work it, not the weaker it gets. It just goes a little more silent.
Yeah. Love it. Cool. Well, let's get to some cards for some inspiration.
Yes. Can you tell that I love that it's Capricorn season?
Yeah, and it's your birthday. You should be excited.
I am. I'm getting ready to come out of my Saturn return too. Well, we know what deck I've brought. Messages from your angel. It's my way of bringing Bill in every time. So if it's your first time joining us or you're always around, maybe you don't make it to this part, we do usually just do a collective poll, one from my end, one from Brian's end, usually from two separate decks, just says like, what is coming up, any messages, questions, just anything for the collective.
I'll go first. I've got from the Ascended Masters deck, Moses, parting the seas.
Love.
Right? Anything you want, anything you say, you can make happen. You can create magic. You can part an ocean, but take charge of this situation is the message there. Very fitting. Take charge. You have the power to heal and alter the course of this situation. It's time for you to take charge and assume a leadership position. First, decide what you want. Be clear about the conditions that are acceptable or unacceptable to you. The universe responds when you're clear about your aims and intentions. The Ascended Masters will support your leadership role. additional meanings. Talk openly and honestly about your feelings. Make a decision instead of passively waiting. Give yourself permission to do what you feel is right. Don't wait. Take action now. Be your own authority figure. So yeah, pretty fitting, I think, but
I agree.
goes right in the message of, getting clear on what you want, and this time of setting your intention, setting the vision for what you want out of the year. And then, once you're clear on that, then that's all up to you. And then you take the action, you take charge.
Mhm. Not fitting at all. We've got Merlina or Merlina could be many of the three. Before I even read the meaning, I just think the card itself is pretty cool. You've got the yin yang symbol down, so kind of that very up and down energy. There's a little rabbit in the corner with its stones. There's this radiating energy coming from the top. You've got the earth behind her. And then there's even like some little butterflies and plants. And it says, you are confused and indecisive because you do not have enough information. Do research or seek expert advice before making a decision. There's also like some dolphins with like little triangle stone things. So you have felt like you are chasing your tail, looking at this option, then that option. This indecisiveness is exhausting, dear one. The reason why you're confused is that you do not have enough information to make the informed decision. Your choices will appear too similar right now, but once you conduct additional research, your decision will become more clear. First, begin by asking your dreams and getting more information. Then ask your feelings to give you guidance. This means imagining what it would feel like to make the decision, then imagining what would it feel like to make the other choice. Go deep within and notice how your body reacts. Is your gut tight? Is your jaw tightened? This is a sign that something isn't right. If your heart flutters with warmth, maybe you're a sign that you're on the right path. Before making your final decision, seek the counsel of wise friends and teachers who experience and intuition can guide you. So again, you're going inward. You're asking yourself, what do I need? How will I be supported? Not just oh my God, I got to go. Okay, here's my gym resolution. I'm going to go every single day. And then feeling like maybe the gym's not for you. Maybe you actually just need movement. Take a walk every day. That might be more supportive for you and feel more successful because walking is just as great as going to the gym, just in a different capacity. So it's taking the step back, feeling grounded, and going a little bit inward to ask yourself, what do I really need and what do I really want right now?
Awesome.
Yes.
Love it.
Love it.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, a couple final thoughts. You touched on this is really a time of like connecting with your soul purpose, right? Or your life's purpose, your life mission. And where I think that can be maybe daunting for a lot of folks, which is common. And I think we're in large part programmed not to really think about that, or we're not taught to pursue our dreams. It's like, get a good paying job and do the responsible thing, and those things are all well and good, and you can still do those. And how else can you infuse or connect to your life's purpose, and what does that even mean? I think now would be a great time to sit down with that and listen to that intuition, as Isa was saying. And what could that be? What does that feel like? What am I drawn to? Like, what brings me joy and happiness, and how can I infuse that more into my life? It doesn't have to be to make a living, but maybe it's like volunteer work, or maybe it's something else that just you can do on a consistent basis that brings you joy, and maybe it's of service of others. So yeah, I would recommend spending some great time sitting down with that, thinking about that, meditating with that, and see how it manifests through 2024.
Yeah, I agree.
Anything you'd add? Any final thoughts?
No, welcome to my favorite time of the year.
Cool. Well, appreciate it as always. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy new moon, everyone.
Oh, sign up for our next one. We're gonna maybe do it live.
Yes.
We'll send
Yes.
it out. It's on February 9th. So the 9th of February.
February 9th.
Just to
And
have it in the
that's
back of your brain.
Aquarius, did you say?
I believe so.
can't remember, but February 9th and maybe we'll do it the day before, February 8th. So follow us on Instagram, check the link in the descriptions, reach out to us if you want a personal reading. Happy to do that as well. If you have any questions or any of this was confusing, happy to chat with you, meet you. Yeah, would love to hear from you. So
Wonderful. Can't wait.
thanks everyone for watching or listening. Have a great 2024.